Welcome to the open mic, everybody. We do this call because MSPs wanted to know what we were working on, what we've added to the product, what bugs we fixed, and you folks wanted to do a little R&D or rob and duplicate automation ideas from your MSP peers. Just a couple items. First off, this is a highly technical call. So if you're a decision maker, but not a person who's actually automating, you just may want to sit back and listen to the cool things people are doing with automation in this space. Also, let me call on, I was supposed to call on someone specific this week. They told me last week I should have called on them. Maybe, who should I call on? Someone in chat, drop a name in there. No one drop a name in chat?
Andy H.
Is Andy H here? Do we have an Andy H? I don't see you. All right, I'm just gonna pick someone. Thomas, you posted. Thomas Bedford, how many MSPs have been successful with automation that never asked a question? Thomas says he doesn't know any. That is, Chris says 5. It's you know what, you're making me think here. It's like 5, 8, 20, 32, 0 MSPs have ever succeeded with automation without asking a question. In fact, one of my indicators on whether or not someone will succeed with automation is whether they think they're already an expert. Because those folks that think they're experts don't have anything else to learn, and so then they never learn how to automate. So ask a ton of questions. No matter how dumb you may think they are, you can ask them in your private channel. You can ask them in the public channels like the Coop. You can drop them in chat here, or you can raise your hand and we'll call on you in the middle of the call to ask your questions. With that, add time savings to your workflows. I haven't reminded you folks about that. The best automations are the easiest ones to forget. Think about all the things in your life that have been automated that you don't think about at all, but if they stopped working one day, you would totally remember them. By adding time savings, it's a great way for the decision makers at your MSP to remember that things are automated. With that, let's get started. Ashe, what's going on?
Hello. Thank you. All right. So we have 2 scheduled demos today that I'm a little bit excited about. So we will have some time for anybody who might want to demo anything off on a spontaneous capacity, but otherwise there's also going to be some time for some live building that we talked about last week as well. So we will jump first over to George, who's got our community updates for us this week.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Ashe. Going to jump in with a quick announcement, or more of a highlight for our documentation nerds, so all the folks who love documentation. I'm just going to share my screen real quick. So make sure you guys can see that. So for any folks new to the call of the community, we have a brilliant doc site, docs.rewst.help. You can go in here and get information across a variety of subjects, everything from our pre-built crates to the different integrations that we have. I've just hopped on to our Asana integration here, where you can scroll down and get all of the documentation that you need. But the key thing I wanted to highlight was this little thing over here. It's not necessarily new. I just want to draw some attention to it, which is around, was this helpful? Okay, this is something that we're tracking and monitoring. So did you like it? Was it meh? or did you not like it? So feel free to smash any of those emojis if you're enjoying documentation, if you think it's really good, or if you think it needs some work. For those of you who are familiar with GitHub, we can actually go one step further and click the GitHub link, and we'll actually take you to the GitHub version of this, where those of you who are familiar will know then you can actually look at how the code of everything is set up, and even use the pencil icon there to leave your comments or suggestions. So, you know, we're in a very fast space in technology. Things are changing all the time. Documentation needs to follow those changes. So we really appreciate everyone's support and help with letting us know what's good and what needs some work, and where we can make improvements. So yeah, let us know. Second big announcement, some of you guys saw it within seconds of it happening. Thank you, Mr. Brian Simpson, earlier today on the Coop. We now have our official server tag, which is a delightful little teal heart, and RWST available on Discord. So for all you fine folks who are in there, feel free to adopt that server tag, add it to your Discord handle, and show some love for Rewst. And yeah, congratulations to the folks, like I said, who had it added already this morning within seconds of it being available. True champions. So yeah, Brian Simpson, the credit stealer. That's it for me for this week, short and sweet. Back to you, Ashley.
Thank you, George. All right, I love seeing all of the server tags. It'll be fun to try and make little gamified stuff out of that later. Let's jump now over to Daniel with an A, the first one.
First one.
Perfect. The Canadian A.
All right, I'm going to go through 2 weeks worth of updates today because all the Americans were celebrating and setting off fireworks, and I saw all the Reddit videos about that and yada yada. So I'll talk about on July 4th, this last week, we had some interesting features that were delivered. So we have a new CrushBank integration. We have Lisa, who has done a great job of generating this documentation. CrushBank is all about the automation of ticket categorization and prioritization analysis. So it's another sort of AI analysis integration for you to use. So we've released that, and I'll show a little bit of that off shortly. We've added some more endpoints to the slide integration, specifically for device pairing. We've added a couple of actions for the Microsoft CSP integration to link or unlink customers. And then we've added another transform, thanks to Dan Hayes again. We've added response headers and CSP generic API requests, disaster recovery and incident actions to the Acronis integration, and a new SuperOps trigger. We've made some additional changes to App Builder as well, and then fixed a couple of bugs around the Create Marketplace sort and filtering functionality, which I'll show off. Some performance improvements, a lot of fun stuff last week. This week, we added some stability and reliability improvements. So we've made improvements to the nudging functionality so we can automatically restart delayed workflow executions. So there have been instances where the platform's under heavy load and a workflow status is requested, and we've just improved the reliability of those actually making it through to an executed success or failed state. A couple of other bug fixes there, but I'll jump quickly into CrushBank. So if you go to the CrushBank integration page, it will link you directly to your CrushBank account. It's a very simple setup. All you do is you click on this admin page. I won't expose our client ID and secret, but you click on the admin, it's right there for you. You enter that into the Rewst integration page, and then you have CrushBank set up. From there, I'll quickly jump into here. So you can see we have a couple of CSP link and unlink actions. They take organization ID, customer ID, and integration configuration ID as inputs, and you can link or unlink. I won't run this so our internal IT folks don't murder me. But then I have a couple of other actions here. So you can see here we have YAML as the input, and then we'll output a JSON object. And then we have CrushBank, the analyze action. So I've set it up to work with this specific model. And then the data that I'm passing into here is I need my password reset ASAP so I can get my stupid report done. And if I run this, you'll see we are spitting out here a JSON object from that YAML. So we do have a Jinja filter for this already, but we've been working towards making our transforms actions more versatile and usable. So this replaces that, or it replaces that Jinja filter. And then we have CrushBank Analyze. You can see that it gives you some categorization here, and it gives you confidence levels for all these as well. I'll also quickly show you, just as a refresher, one of the bugs that we fixed is there were a couple of missing integrations from our filtering. So if I click on the filters here, you can see that you can filter by category on this new Crate Marketplace page, and you can search through our integrations and filter by those. So if I select a couple of those, you'll see that, okay, we don't have connects here. That was a bad one to do. Let's go ConnectWise PSA, so you can see what we have for there, and you can sort by or filter by multiple. So if I go down to like some of the Microsoft, you'll see, yeah, you can add all those in there. If I quickly jump over to, no, I already talked about July 11th. So that's actually it for me today.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel. I think I kind of want to give everybody in the audience a pop quiz over whether they heard anything you said, because there was just a lot of focus on like the dark mode, light mode. Now let's jump over to JP Marketplace.
All right. All right. This week we had a number of bug fixes. Important things like changing the spelling of organization in our crates to the proper spelling. We're waiting on a few crate deployments for some updates to the crate builder component of the platform. But once we do that, we'll have a few BitLocker related crates that are going to be deployed hopefully next week. So that's really all that's going on in Marketplace.
All right. Any questions for JP or for Daniel or for anyone else before we move on? Going once. All right. Now we are over to Clea. You spoiled it, Clea. How are they supposed to know that it was going to be you?
I did. Surprise, surprise. And apologies. We have got 2 weeks of certification celebration candles to blow out. So I don't know if I can do this in one breath each, but since we Americans were off on July 4th, here we go. Rewst Foundations, folks who got certified. Angela, Justin, Mayor, John, Andrew, Nicole, Jack, Sven, Cole, Alden, Jesse, Alexis, Carlos, Ruben, Chris, Daniel, Carlos, Michael, Matthew, Philip, Feb, Jackson, Xavier, Jesse, Josh, Ivan, Russell, Cameron, Michael, Justin, Peter, Ethan, and Mark. For Rewst Foundations, kudos. Clean Automation. Angela, Alexis, Matt, Stephen, Carlos, London, Carlos, Daniel, Feb, Ojus, Jesse, Paul, Jackson, Ivan, Neil, Jeff, Doa, Charlie, and Shraga. I notice a lot of name overlaps there, so kudos to folks who are getting certified in both. If you have yet to have your name shouted out and hopefully not mispronounced, so ping me in Discord if I did you wrong and I will correct it. Get your name on the list, go take the certification exam. We recommend doing the training beforehand, but right now you don't have to. And in fact, we have a new live training schedule coming up starting next week. I'll get to that in a minute. But there's some folks who are taking Rewst Foundations, the new abbreviated version with the legendary Eddie Chow, who are already certified. So love to see it. Get your cert, get your training in whatever order you desire.
Yeah, make that list as long as possible. Let's keep this rap god Clea going.
Yeah, like really challenge me. I can hold my breath for pretty long, like underwater swim test situations. So I need you all to challenge me more. So back to the point, what is new at Cluck University? Automation Basics is now on demand only. Didn't have a lot of live signups, but if you want help with Automation Basics content, you can always sign up for office hours. We've moved it from Monday mornings to Friday to try to get more traction that way. Again, don't tend to get a lot of signups, but the new schedule is live and out there in Cluck U. Rewst Foundations used to be offered weekly, 3 sessions, 2.5 hours each. That is a lot of time commitment. And so to save some time for you and to help Eddie focus more on concepts that really benefit from the live training, we recommend taking 2 courses in advance and just diving into the shorter, fast-paced Rewst Foundations live. Similarly, Clean Automation, which is coming up in about 2 weeks, has 3 sessions now, an hour each instead of 5. You can take our Jinja in Action course to cover any gaps there. We're open to any feedback about the new training schedule. And yeah, go sign up if you haven't already. We've got 3 folks signed up next week for Rewst Foundations, no one in the future, but it is all out there. We also have a brand new course called Rewst Technical Pre-Assessment. Basically, if you are new and aren't really sure where you should begin beyond the onboarding courses, Automation Basics, Rewst Foundations, this is a little quiz that will give you some personalized guidance, but nothing is stopping you from registering for whatever you want. So just a little tip there to help ease you into the Cluck University curriculum. Documentation updates, we have alert on unused M365 licenses crate documented. CrushBank integration, to me that sounds like a spin on Candy Crush. I wish it was, it's probably not. Slide integration, YAML parse transform action, organization variables, and actions in Rewst. So go give those docs some love and let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Clea. All right, so now we are going to jump into some demos. And the first one we are going to do is Danial with the USA.
Thanks, Ashe. So a few weeks ago, we got tired of dealing with Fedex tracking. We have a lot of tickets for shipping to and fro client devices. Most of our clients are mostly remote. So that means every new user who starts, every new user gets a computer. Pretty much all of them get their computer shipped to them from our office. We're not quite to the point where we're comfortable doing drop shipping direct from, Dell or whatever to people's houses. So they come to us, we set them up, then we mail them out. But as a result, when we have a busy season of new setups, which we have right now with Windows 10 end of life, we spend a significant portion of time tracking shipping. We already had some custom fields, and I'm going to share my screen here. I believe it is this one. Great, I did do the right one. So we already had some custom fields in Manage to make that a little easier. We would put the tracking information in there as shown here. But that wasn't, that required us to manually go in there and check it on a regular basis. Has it been delivered? So we can call the user, all that fun stuff. So we went ahead and set up automatic integration with Fedex to track it. Now, of course, my test one, which had data in it earlier, is suddenly not have data in it. I don't know what happened, but it does automatically, unless I switch tickets somehow. I'm not sure what went on because it had notes and everything. Weird. Regardless, it will automatically fill in the shipping status and the shipping to status and the return shipping for PHCs. PHCs is the term for us. Return computers. When we send out a new computer, they send their old one back. And so it will keep that track for us so we can know at a glance how that works. Now, the way we did that was pretty simple. We have a cron trigger on a workflow, every hour, it just checks all tickets to see if, so it gets all tickets here, pretty simple. Any ticket that's not closed, basically. It says, hey, give me all the open tickets. Then it filters out the ones, so it's only showing ones with tracking numbers in it. We probably could put that filter. Okay, James just kicked off the workflow, so we'll see if that information's in there by the time I get back to it. It then filters out the tickets that don't have any tracking numbers at all in them. Then we use some simple regex to parse out which carrier the tracking numbers for. Currently, we only support FedEx. Our plan is to have all the other major carriers as well, but FedEx was our start because that's our main shipper that we use. So just use simple regex. You can find it on the internet, and it will tell you what a tracking number is, like what shipping vendor it is based on regex matching. So we use that to filter out lists of all the tickets. So these tickets are FedEx tickets, these tickets are UPS tickets. Now, we don't actually do anything with the UPS or the USPS yet, and we'll probably also want to do Amazon shipping because that's a thing now. But for not necessarily computer tracking, but for product tracking in general, we also have this running on our our opportunities and our POs and that type of stuff. So once it decides it's FedEx, every FedEx ticket, it goes through, runs down, grabs more information about the ticket again. I'm not exactly sure why we do this one again. I didn't look too much through it. I'm sure James knows. And then we dump that in, and we actually get the FedEx tracking information. Assuming we got something back, then we add a note to the ticket, and we update the status. We only update the status if there's a change, so it doesn't say ticket updated every hour, but we do purposefully siphon that off. The actual FedEx piece is just a simple, it's mostly a simple HTTP request to their endpoint. We just looked at the documentation on theirs. We tried to write it as an integration, like do a custom integration in Rewst, and we just were failing. So we just decided to do let's just do a simple request. And then we just wrote a little workflow here that will make sure it always has an updated authentication token. And if it doesn't, then it gets a new one, but it doesn't need to pull a new authentication token for every single call. Just whenever it finds that it's expired, then it creates a new one. And then all the other future calls will use that one until it's expired again. And then round and round we go. And this is the update OAuth, which is just grab an OAuth thing, a token, and throw it in the main company's organizational variables. So it's a pretty simple system overall, and it's expandable. The great thing is it's expandable from to multiple carriers as long as we get API access to those carriers. We should be able to kind of slip it in as we go. We might even change the workflow a little bit once we actually have other carriers and push the who to do the web the simple REST call to. And we might push that down the layers a little ways, but for now this is the way we split it up while it's not actually split up. And now hopefully if James's workflow worked, then there it is. So now we can see delivered, and we can see label created for the return shipping but not actually shipped. And because it is these are custom fields in Manage, you can mark those as available for the main. I'm not going to do it because I'll show a bunch of real tickets. But if you go to the board list, you can add those as column headers so that for the people who work new computer setups, they can pull all the new computer setups or all the computer change setups or all the computer change tickets and see them in the list view. They can see the current status of delivered or label created. And we've also put a note in here saying, hey, it was delivered. Click here to see the details of the delivery, just as a quick action for the techs. And we use MTX as our main tech interface. And so we can pin those custom fields. So it shows up right here when that employee who mostly just does the computer setups, they can go into the ticket and they can see it here on the ticket as well in the MTX, which is our standard tech interface for tickets. Okay. Yeah, I had made some changes shortly before. Never make changes right before a demo. Evidently, I had broke it at some point. But cool, that's it. It's not a very complicated one when you really break it down, but it's a lot of steps to get it there. Anyone have any questions or anything about it?
Lot of
All right.
celebration.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All
And
right, thank you so
push
much.
Nylear. I'll push Nylear again, just so everyone knows that's an interface for manage that just makes it more usable. Is a pretty cool tool. Not related to any of this.
Very, very cool, Daniel. I like that a lot. It was mentioned like being able to kind of easily pull in other systems around other than Fedex. Is this something that you've like shown to any of your clients at all? Are you working with any small or medium businesses that are constantly shipping things, and would they have an interest in leveraging any of this type of automation themselves?
We haven't talked to any clients about it. Is certainly we could. To get a FedEx developer account's not hard, and neither is a UPS developer account. We were looking at that. I don't know about USPS. There's also third-party services that consolidate into a single tracking thing, but the cost per item tracked is kind of high as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so theoretically, yeah, that could be useful for clients. That could be something that we could offer as a service of like alerts or updates or a central portal for all of their shipping. We can, because we have a FedEx account, we can actually pull all the shipments that are going to our address, even if things we didn't ship. Anything FedEx that is targeting our address, we can also pull that list as well. So theoretically, if we did that for UPS, FedEx, and USPS, then yeah, we could have a central portal that says, hey, here's all the incoming packages today. Here's all the outgoing packages today, which would be pretty cool. We haven't sat down and thought about any of that stuff though.
So say that again. So even if you yourself hadn't sent it, like you can see what's coming. So if
I believe so. As a business, as having a business relationship with FedEx, we own the address, and I believe, are able to see all packages that are targeted for delivery to that address.
Sweet.
So we could see anyone who's shipping anything to FedEx for us. We could pull that down and list it as a like deliverable coming our way.
Glitter bombs are in the post.
Yeah. Well, you have our address.
Yeah, I love it. Super cool workflow.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much. All right. So now we are going to jump over to Sam.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, so I actually have a few demos today. The first one is pretty simple. Basically, so what I've been experimenting with is a Copilot Studio bot that hooks into our ConnectWise database. But one of the ways I was thinking about using Rewst for this was a survey. So you can actually do questions in Copilot Studio and save them as this variable. But what I wanted to do was actually make it into a better format to where when people send feedback, it actually goes and sends me a message in Slack. So therefore, I can easily access that feedback and also track it as well. But what's pretty cool is I was just using an HTTP request, and you can send it via webhook into Rewst. And basically, you just take the body and send the variable as a content message into Rewst. And basically what you end up with is something like this. So if I exit out of this Copilot bot, and we'll exit out of here, and we'll say, yes, we want to end our conversation. Did that answer your question? We'll say no. And then it's going to ask me to enter in some feedback. So I'll say, this is some test feedback. Let's see if it comes into Rewst. And basically, so it will hop back over, and then now it will execute this workflow. So you can see it just executed that, and then it sent it into the body. This is some test feedback. Let's see if it comes into Rewst. So obviously, you can use this to pull in data and also get out of data out of Rewst into your Copilot bots. So for something like me, if I was using, say, I wanted to ask for certain data, I could pull that in from Rewst or push it out into Rewst. This is a very elementary example. I actually just created this last night. just to kind of solve a problem that we were having with some feedback, getting some feedback in terms of a Copilot bot. So super simple thing there. And then what I was primarily was going to demo was this integration I've kind of developed on the side with another product called AppSmith, which if you haven't heard is kind of like a low-code website builder tool, kind of like App Builder, but more established. So basically what they allow you to do is connect into Rust APIs. And so I was able to pull down data using a webhook as well. So basically what you can have is a website that you build, and you can have a custom form, just like you can do with Rewst. You can change the background, have all your drop downs, do everything like that, right? But what's pretty cool is if I hop into my page here, and we'll go into, let's see, I think it's the options generator. So here you go. It's not really super much interesting here, but I'm just asking for the asset ID number. And then here is where I'm listing the computers. And then this is the response back from Rewst. And basically I have a workflow that is running here. And basically, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. This is just listing out some computer systems in our lab environment from Ninja. So I'm just listing them out and then outputting it back into the Rewst webhook. So from there, from that Rewst webhook, that's how I'm able to do this custom drop-down menu. What's pretty cool is because AppSmith has some additional features that Rewst doesn't have right now, like Git integration and other things like that. But a lot of things that everybody has been asking for is, hey, I need a public website with my Rewst integrations, or I want to have a public forum or whatever. Well, you can actually do that in here. So I will show you. If I load up this website, you can see it's populating my computers. And just to show you that this is live, I will move a computer into our dev environment. So let's change this into our lab. Boom. And then now if I refresh that page, here's our TV computer. And then what's pretty cool about that as well is I can select our lab server, and then I have another workflow here that updates this asset tag number. So you can see it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll make it 2, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, just to change it up. We'll submit that. It submits this form inside of AppSmith. And here you go. It reached out to Rewst, executed that workflow, passed through the asset tag number, and then updated it inside of Ninja. So basically, I'm using Rewst as kind of like a backend, and then AppSmith as like a front end. And what's pretty cool about AppSmith is you can self-host it and Docker, and there's a lot of other features too that I'm not really going to get into. But if you haven't looked into it, it's a very cool product. And yeah, just wanted to mention that and kind of just share some interesting use cases you can do with some webhooks inside of Rewst. So.
Love webhooks. Did you say you had, did you have multiple, or was that the one that was, you were showing as multiple?
Yeah, so I actually have another, I mean, you can go in here and just create custom elements, just like you can do with Rewst, with App Builder. But I actually have this ticket page, so you can see if I go into here, it'll pull down my list of ticket notes. So this is pulling down from Rewst, executing a workflow in Rewst, and then outputting the list of tickets. And I'll just pull it down right here. So I can go into this test ticket here. And then I can click into that. It's pulling it live from ConnectWise, and I can add in another note. So I'll say test note from website, submit this. Boom, it added the ticket note into ConnectWise because it called a Rewst webhook, which that Rewst webhook reached out to ConnectWise, add the note into the ticket, and then exported it back out. So you can see it's very responsive, and this is running through Rewst right now. So this isn't like caching or anything else like this. This is literally just running it through Rewst. The same thing with the options generator. You can see that loaded up pretty much instantaneously. There's some other features too you can do in here, like maps. You can also embed a form using an HTML. So here you go. Here's my create for user onboarding form. So you can see I just embed that into the website as well. And then obviously that you can use other APIs. What's pretty neat is you can actually use databases. So you can have like a SQL database embedded into here, as well as your Rewst, and you can also use any type of API. So you can actually go into here and say you wanted to use GraphQL API, you could use that, or any of these other products as well. So they have a lot of integrations, but basically what I did here was just created this Rewst API with engine.rewst.io. I don't really care if you have the secret, it's only for test workflows I'm showing off here. So I just passed that through to give it some basic level of authentication so that any user just couldn't just access my Rewst webhooks and get a response back or put information in there. But basically how it works is you can go into the page itself, and then you take this one, for example, list computers. You just go into here, say I wanted to add a new Rewst webhook. So I can just go into my webhook and just copy the URL and then just update that here. So if I hop back over, I have way too many tabs open. It's right here. So basically you can just go into here and then just remove this part. It'll pass through your header, which is your X-Rewst secret right here. And then you could just run it. This is going to fail because, let's see why. Maybe because my header is wrong. But yeah, basic, yeah, because I forgot a slash here. That's why, yeah, method not allowed because I wasn't testing it. Let me get this one instead. This will actually show you what the output is. So let me run this. And then here's the output from Rewst. So you can see I'm passing through that header. These are the response headers I'm getting from Rewst. And then basically from here, I could say that as an API and then use that inside of another component. So I could go into here and kind of just show if you wanted to add in a table, just drag it into here and then connect that into one of my Rewst, for example, list computers, and boom, it populated that data in from Rewst. And then you can also do things like pagination, server-side pagination, etc. in here. It's very cool. You can actually use and go pretty advanced with this. So you can do things like custom and have custom widgets. You can even use things like JavaScript libraries like React. So if you want to have a React application, you could do that in here as well, and then also call in those APIs. But yeah, basically what I've been doing this is mostly just playing around right now to see if there's any use cases. But mostly if you want to have a public forum or something like that, you can now easily do that. So yeah, just wanted to demo that off and kind of show you a workaround if you want to have a public forum or a public website. And it also integrates into Git as well. So you can connect your, so you want to have a GitHub, you can hook this into a GitHub repo. So.
Sam, did you have to make any considerations or like on your Rewst workflows? Like, was there any sort of considerations or alignments that you were needing to make on how you were actually designing those things in order to meet your needs here?
Yeah, so basically I'm just outputting, you have to have an output field, and also what you want to do is just make sure you add a webhook in. So just use a webhook here, make sure to set it up to be the same parameter. So for example, use the same key. And what's actually pretty cool is you can go in, say that key were to get exposed somewhere, you can just go into your Rewst API here and just edit that key. So say this key gets exposed, and sure, I'll expose it. All I would have to do is update that secret inside of our Rewst org, and then update it here as well. And then basically, since both of the keys would be in match, now they can authenticate. So it makes key rotation super easy, because you could just update it in AppSmith and then update in Rewst, and then you're secure. So just pretty cool. And then you can also do some other stuff like exporting it out. I really recommend using Jinja with Rewst and then exporting it out. So basically you don't have to worry about modifying the data too much. So as long as it works very well with JSON data and actually kind of has a Jinja kind of structure to it. So when you actually build it out, if I hop into one of these other pages, basically what you can see, this is kind of like a JSON data. So if I just take this and say like list computers dot data dot output, you can see it showing it here. Say I just want the first one. Well, that's not going to work because it's an array. Dot same model. Yeah, this is not going to work because it's looking for a list. But obviously, since I have the list right here, let's see. Yeah, now that's going to work. Data.output. And then here's a sample of what it looks like. So, and then you can do your name and label just like you can do with Rewst and all that kind of stuff in here as well. So, and yeah, you could just so you want to make this form a little bit bigger. I could just drag it out like this, and then scroll down, and they have this cool map that you can add in as a UI element as well. And they have a cool rich text editor here too. So if I expand this out, you can see I can just edit this text and then I just deploy this out. And then this will show you what it looks like now. So now you can see I've added this in and some other stuff in here as well. So there's our custom widget we built in earlier, and then the table. So yeah. So just wanted to kind of demo that off in case people wanted to use a custom, have more customization or make public forms or public websites available. So that's really the primary goal of this.
Thank you. All right, that is the two demos that we had, and now I also have some time left. So if there is any, I want to open up the floor to anybody who has anything that they want to potentially show off or ask. We'll have our 7 seconds of awkward silence here in a moment, but otherwise I'll jump in with some little interactive walkthroughing of building.
Anyone new who's never presented want to present something? I know
I'd raise my hand, but I don't think I could get client data anonymized in 10 to 15 seconds.
What if we commit you onto the schedule on another week, Neil, and we can have you be our new face?
I could try. Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll just all close our eyes. We won't look at the data.
Yeah, just Scout's honor. Let's
Yeah.
cross our fingers,
Linda
guys.
knows how the sneak attack works. Yeah. We'll get just
I'll
like,
forget.
oh, first.
I'll forget all your client data at the end of the call, I promise.
That makes 2 of us.
All right, I will share my screen to start, and then anybody interrupt me if you want to go over some other things, but here's my window. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Yeah. Okay. So last week, George was asking me to recreate something using some AI, and I thought that, or to show off something. I was like, why not recreate it in Rewst to see how that would be done, and also potentially showcase some different ways of using some of the functionality, and also maybe get some of you to help me whether I'm using stuff properly or not, because some of my knowledge is a little bit hacking things together. So basically what I have is a little automation that, like, you can give it a message and you can tell it the type of response that you want to get back. And what I did is I had the stuff in JSON. So I'm just going to come over to my templates here. And I will pull up my template. And I figured I'll just throw these in here so we can all see them. And so this is, I intentionally had this here just so that I could show kind of how I work through some of the modeling of the data a little bit. So as you can see in this list, we've got the different types of responses that each are in like it's just a bunch of objects, and each of them have a name and a label and some guidance within that you could choose between and then get those types of responses back. So when I'm looking at the template to collect it, we have this this action for getting the templates, and I just gave it the ID of that template in Rewst. And I'm not actually sure whether there's a better way. Like, anybody literally can interrupt and shout out, like, there's a better way to do that, and we can go over that. But then I put that template there, and what I noticed was that it brought back the body, but I wasn't sure whether I was using it properly. I had to parse out the JSON, so I figured I'll just put that into another task and show you what that looks like. We'll test it just so that you can see. To start, I'm going to just throw in some random data. As you can see, it returns the body like this, and it's not a JSON string properly. There might be a way for me to get it to return properly. I might not be doing that properly,
so,
but
Ash, The Rock has told me, and based on this exact sort of experience, I just never use that Rewst action anymore. You just use
do the template.
Just call template.
Thing.
Yeah, it seems to just prevent all this.
Okay, so we can actually like add maybe a task on here after and then see the difference, and so that you guys can see it as well. But with this way, what I did to accommodate that was I just grabbed so we saw that it was body, and then it was inside the body with just like the raw JSON. So what I did was I just grabbed the template.body, and then I said from JSON string. And then when I tested that, it returned it back in its proper JSON format, how I wanted to see it. So that's just that one way to accommodate, when you see that data coming in that way, it brings it back. And then the other thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to just get the option that was appropriate for the option that I selected. So I had selected philosophical, so I wanted it to pick the philosophical item and only return that object. So I came in here, jumped into, I created a new task just to see this, and this is how I did that. And so when you put things inside of square brackets in your Jinja, it is the same as putting like a dot, and so it's like a dot notation. And so by putting the variable in there, I was basically saying that I wanted template body dot philosophical, which was that object. So by doing this, it actually does just simply parse it down to that one simple object, which you can see here that it got I said, this is the one that I wanted. This is what it converted into. It's nice that it was a set variable so you can see it in your results. And then I just got that object back. Does anybody have any questions before I proceed further? Okay. And so then now that I've got that object, that's when I was like, all right, I want to create a chat completion. And so that chat completion, I already had a prompt for that was in my GitHub. So I just grabbed that prompt from my GitHub where I have it here. And I just grabbed that and I just converted that onto Rewst in an Anthropic message. So I put the system message here with just its information and then the tone that it was selected. And then up here in the user message, it just put like what the user's like submitted message that they were responding to was. And so that was it. That was like just like the basic steps. So I was like, I think I created this in just like 20 minutes, mostly just to test that one example way, because there is always different ways to go and different things, and easier things to do, like use transforms and do different types of Jinja. But these were my brain's immediate way to go to this, and so I wanted to share that with you all. But yeah, so like let's look at this. So that was tested. I selected that. And so the response was, so like the message that I submitted was, do you have time to talk? I've got a new software for tracking your time you would love. And then it is given the system prompt and the Anthropic section, and then that. And then it's told how to respond. And so it says, thank you for reaching out about your time tracking software. I appreciate you thinking of me and my potential efficiency needs. I've been contemplating the curious relationship we have with time, how we simultaneously experience it as both infinitely precious, yet persistently seek to contain it with our digital boundaries. One wonders if our time tracking stems from an existential fear of passage. Oh, it just keeps going on. Anyway, I should have added something about negative time savings in there. Maybe that's one option to throw in. But just a fun little proof of concept where I could now create a form. I could like pick the option that I want and then type in the message. And then based on those two things, it could then return to me the prompt. And it could be like a fun little proof of concept that is 5 tasks, but technically could probably just be like, however you make it. Sky's kind of the limit on what you did there. But I started to, before I moved, before I jumped on the screen share, I started to try and say, okay, well, what would it look like to make it like an options generator? And so I basically just copied some of these over, and my parse template, everything is all the same. But when I run that data, you saw it had the list with the object and then the stuff inside of the object like this. But I wanted it to be flat, like a flat file. So like it's like all of those things were all the same. And so in that case, some of my favorite Jinja to use against objects in that case there was this. And so I figured I'd show that as well. Where you can use dot items and do like key value usage. When you add the dot items, it actually lets you interact with the labels. And so that's really fun, especially when you start getting into form displays and stuff like that. So this is just super simple from a Jinja perspective, like your basic kind of list comprehension, but we just are now able to interact with the label a little bit and play with that. There's a transform for this too, I believe, but just wanted to show how, like, that's where my mind went, was like, oh, I can like just restructure the list. And then when I test that, then I get back the flat list of all of these. So I could then use these and choose that I want dot name as the value, and then .label as the label, and then the guidance could be sent through wherever else I want it. But various different use cases for that kind of stuff, but just thought it would be fun to show that. Any questions or anywhere anyone wants to like dive in more? I didn't read the chat at all, so I just plowed through that. Not sure if any of the chat was related to, I was like, set variables, yes. The benefits of using it, the main one for me is the being able to see it and declare it that way. Also forces you to keep things a little bit more surfaced.
Do you ever consider going back for performance?
Oh yeah. Well, there's like an intentional thing. The thing that I was running that on was as a template that was only 4 things. I definitely would probably want to use more performant strategies for like larger data sets and stuff like that. Any other questions? Any other comments? We're at the top of the hour now.
Hey, thank you, Ashe, for the last demo. And thanks for putting on our call today. And I want to thank all the people that demoed. I know it takes time to prep, and it can be nerve-wracking on such a large call. So thank you for joining. And with that, have a good weekend, everyone. And we'll see you again next Friday. See ya.
Yeah.
Meow.
Toodles.
Meow.
Meow meow.